Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? Good Saturday morning to you. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome once again to that great thing we do on the weekend called Front Porch Brunch, a fun little live stream where we all get together, hang out, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative. Forgive me, folks. I'm just putting some things together. There we go. Yeah, stop that. Anyway, hope your Saturday morning is going very well for you guys. It is for me. It is a great, great Saturday morning. Glad to see all y'all in the house. And yeah, we're going to have some fun. We've got a lot of things to talk about. I mean, I know it's been a hard week to try to find news items to discuss, but we'll suffer through. We'll see what we can do here to try and make this live stream as fun and entertaining for you as we possibly can. Again, Brian Trippett here, the Front Porch Conservative, sometimes known in social media as the beau in the chapeau. On occasion, I'm called the common man with common sense, but I am, above all else, in this moment, your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you wouldn't mind, help a brother out. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. Also, hit the links. You know, we want you to give the thumbs up. We want you to leave a comment in chat. We want you to share the link around with your friends. We want you to hit the bell for notifications. Go crazy, everybody, and do all those things to help this going little concern become a going big concern. All right, let's see who all is in the house this morning. We will start with the OG Wingnuts over on Rumble. WWG1 is here. And WWG1, boy, mercy, you loaded me up this morning. I've got most, if not all of them. We'll show them to you here shortly. Let's see. T. Gagliotti's in the house this morning. Oh, yeah, you know what? I may as well do it. Thank you for sending me that link. I hadn't planned on it, but you know what? I'm going to throw it in for the heck of it. Matter of fact, give me 1 second, folks. I gotta do something here. Little work on the fly. Give me one moment. Yep, I think we can make that happen, my friends. Assuming I remember where the heck I left everything. Come on now. Where are you? Oh yeah. There we are. Okay, good. I did. All right, got that taken care of. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, T. Gagliotti, good morning to you, sir. TBA is in the house this morning. Good morning, fellow Fedora wearers. Thank you very much. Glad to see you, sir, and everybody else over there on Rumble who's hanging out with us. And bless y'all's hearts. Y'all know you can start chiming in anytime you wish. We'd love to hear from you. Now, if you don't want to chime in, or maybe you're like I think it was WWG1 once suggested, if you guys over on Rumble are watching on your television sets and you don't have the option to chat in, I get it. But feel free to comment. We'd love to hear from all of you over there. Believe me, the OG Wingnuts are very chatty, but we like to hear diversity of opinion and comment. So if you happen to be out there watching on Rumble, we'd love to hear from you. All right, let's see who's on the YouTube side. Good morning, Miss Gypsy. Mwah. Love you, da. You told me you wouldn't be here till the second half of the show, but that's okay. We're glad you are here this morning. So glad to have you here, Z Highness, representing the 199. My fellow hat speecher, Robert Lowry. Boom. And let's see, Lana's here this morning. Good morning, my fellow porchers. Oh, so good to have y'all here with us. Mercy me. Oh, my goodness. So good to see you guys. It has been a wild week for news. That is faux show. Oh, my gosh. Just when you think the world can't get any more interesting, then it does, and then, and my apologies to all of you. You guys know my normal pattern. I try to put out, 2 or 3, maybe 4 videos a week if I can do it. But this week, just life and schedule and everything else just hasn't allowed me to do it. But that doesn't mean I haven't been keeping an eye on what's going on. And believe me, there's a whole lot going on, which we're going to get into the big item today because I've got a lot to say about this whole Trump versus Elon thing. And I've sort of been trying to keep my powder dry about this because, I mean, yeah, you're in social media. You're supposed to have the hot take and you're supposed to do it fast and get it out there. No. You guys know me. I need to sit back and think about this for a little bit because, as with all things, there's more, I think, going on than what we either can see or what we're being told. And everybody here is free to jump in on this opinion, okay? So, by all means, if you got a take on this thing, when we get into discussing it, let's hear it because, we could all be right, we could all be wrong, we could all be partially right. We might, it's kind of like three blind men trying to describe what an elephant looks like. You've heard the old proverb, they've each got a piece of the elephant and they're describing what they think the elephant looks like, but the reality is they don't have it all. And I think that's what's going on with this whole Elon versus Trump thing. So we'll get into that. We'll get into a bunch of other stuff. There's been some big developments happen this week. Supreme Court stuff, international news, that sort of thing. TBA says, I could be outstanding in my field. There's lots of grass here. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that meant, but all right. We're glad to hear from you. Anyway, all right, let's get into it, guys. Lots of stuff to talk about. We have a bunch of memes, compliments of Adam, compliments of, and hello, you son of a gun. Boom, fist bump to you. Yes, we have a bunch of memes, compliments of Adam, compliments of WWG1, and we're going to get into them right now. So with that, for those of you who maybe have never visited our fabulous little live stream before, this section is known as the Merry Memes, those things in life that we find on the internet that are funny. Back in the day, it used to be the political cartoon on the op-ed section of your local newspaper. Well, with the internet these days, we have memes, and you have any number of people. You got the Brendan Dilley crowd that are just the magical meme makers, and you got everybody in between. But when we find something funny that we think is going to give you a chance to laugh, we always try to bring the funny here on the electronic front porch. So with that, we'll dive right in. There's an old adage that when someone tells you what they really think, you really ought to go out of your way to believe them. And you know what? I think that's what someone had in mind when they came up with this very first meme. When someone looks at you and says, bite me, why should you act surprised? They might really mean it. Bite me, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe she's on to something here. She might be on to something. I don't get why people act surprised when someone says something like this to them. I don't know, kids. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Kawan's in the house this morning. How you doing, sir? You think it's coinky-dink that Elon's Epstein tweet just happened to drop when Cash was on the road? Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into some of that. I'm glad you brought that up. So hang on to that, brother, because we will talk about it. Like I said, where this whole Elon Trump thing is concerned, we could all be right. We could all be wrong. We could all have part of the truth. We could all be partially wrong. Who knows? But we'll talk about it. So yes, thank you for throwing that into the mix. Yes. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Let us see here. Oh, by the way, something that we talked about, I've got a follow-up on that for you guys. As you all know, and when Mike Harlow is here, which, by the way, I want to give a shout-out right now to Mike Harlow. Last night, he had somebody on his channel for an interview that he's been, and by his own admission, he's been dying to get on there forever. And the guest was former actress, television personality, former model, Adrienne Curry. You might remember her from America's Next Model or The Surreal Life or what have you. But he had her on as a guest. I think she was on for maybe 2 hours or so. And I got to watch part of it. For various reasons, I couldn't watch the whole thing. But I want to give a shout out to my buddy Mikey right now. First of all, that's a great get. for his channel. Because Adrienne Curry, even though she's not been in the spotlight for a long time, is still a big name. And I want to, Mikey, if you happen to see this, I'm proud of you, brother. I really am. Congratulations to you. I mean, the parts of it that I got to see, it was a great interview, and I have no doubt the whole live stream was fantastic. So good on you. Well, anyway, Mike was on the channel Wednesday night, and we got into a discussion about the fact that the United States Navy is renaming the USS Harvey Milk. They're giving it a different name. They are stripping the name off of that ship, and they are renaming it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in a follow-up to that story, we now know what the U.S. Navy is going to rename the ship. It's going to now be known as the USS No Homo. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Harvey Milk is being renamed the USS No Homo. It's a little bit of an unusual name. I'm not quite sure what kind of messaging or lack thereof was intended with this, but that's apparently what they're going to rename the ship. The USS Harvey Milk is being renamed the USS No Homo. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Never let it be said that here on the electronic front porch that we are not doing our best to try to keep you as informed as we possibly can. And there you go. There you go. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Let's see here. Yes. Everybody is always trying to find new ways. Well, you kind of got a point there, Atlanta. I mean, I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right. Oh, jeez. Whew. This crowd, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this crowd. Eesh. Oh, my God. Anyway. We're always trying to find new and interesting ways to make our time on the computer or on the internet as productive as it can possibly be. And there's always new little gadgets and tricks that are coming out, new little devices that are intended to, speed up the process of whatever it is we're doing online or just computer using in general. Well, someone's come out with a new product that's about to launch in the very near future that is being advertised that it's going to help all of us reduce the amount of time we have to spend in conversation with people on the internet. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work out, but because, you never know with these things. A product launch, it either really goes sky high or it just falls flat. Who knows? But we found out recently that this new product, it's a keyboard supplement. So apparently it helps you not waste time arguing with folks online. I don't know how well this is going to work. But we'll see. I mean, apparently you just hit a few buttons and you press enter and hey, your time having discussions online gets reduced dramatically. So I don't know, guys. Maybe this is going to take off. It might go somewhere. You never know these days. You never quite know what's going to happen. So, we'll see. We'll see. Very interesting. Yep, it's an 8-key program, and just boom, away you go. You start using it. You don't talk to nearly as many people on the internet, or if you do talk to them, the amount of time you spend doing it is dramatically reduced. It's amazing. Truly, it's an amazing technological age in which we find ourselves. I tell you what. Oh, goodness me. All right. What else is going on out there? Well, you knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. The memes related to Donald Trump and Elon Musk have been flowing fast and furious. And I got to thank WWG1 and I got to thank Adam because, as they are absolutely diligent. Wait a minute, hang on. Before I get to that, TBA says that last keyboard item that you showed could be just reduced to 2 letters, F and U. See, that's the great thing about living in America, TBA. One guy invents something and another guy like you comes along and innovates on it. I mean, you could have, hey, if that thing's not copyrighted yet, man, I'd be figuring out how to, that sort of thing. Yeah, streamlining. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's one customer. She's ready to sign up for it. Oh, this is good. IBM, iBlock Marks. Well, now apparently Robert's not going to buy it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, there's another great point. The guy could have saved himself some trouble and only used one U. See, this is why you guys are completely and absolutely the best audience on the internet. I am not kidding. Y'all are just, y'all are good. Yeah, succinct is right, WWG1. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I was getting ready to say, you knew that the memes were going to start flying around fast and furious when this whole Trump versus Elon thing came down. Or maybe I should say Elon versus Trump, because really Elon started it. And we got some stuff to get into on that. So when this whole Elon versus Trump thing went down, you knew the memes were going to fly. And, God bless WWG1 and Adam and everybody else who's contributed to this, because yeah, let's just put them up here, man. And just like that, the left loves Elon again. And that may not be much of a lie, because I got some clips to show you guys. TBA says people on Twitter were losing their shite. People off of Twitter were losing their shite over the whole Elon versus Trump thing, man. I'm telling you what, this has got, for what turned into a spat between two grown men, this thing has just taken on all kinds of epic proportion. Good grief. It's like Ali versus Frazier or something, man. This is like, whoo. Well, now, yeah, you got that right, Adam. Not since Lennon versus and McCartney have you seen anything this acrimonious. Good Lord. Yeah, it's been bad, man. It's been bad. But this is just one example of the memes. Let's see, what else have we got out there right now in the way of memes discussing this? Oh, yeah. Hang on. Here's one of my favorites. And WWG1 sent this in to me, but I'd found it earlier, but it was just amazing. Yeah, this one's really good too. And it kind of sums up how everybody's feeling about all of it. Yeah. From the Babylon Bee, judge determines that Trump will get the nation on weekdays and Musk gets the nation every other weekend and holidays. So, I don't know quite how that's going to work out, but if that is what a judge determines, that's an interesting split for custody rights. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. And but TBA says the bee was late to the party. True, I give you that, TBA, but on the other hand, it's still not a bad one. I like it. T. Gagliotti says Elon went after Trump's ear like Mike Tyson on Evander Holyfield. Oh, that's good. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right, brother. You are absolutely right. Very, very perceptive take on the whole thing, my friend. Kudos to you. All right, and that last one that you showed kind of sets up the first and obvious topic of the morning, which is this whole Elon versus Trump thing. And like I said, I have been kind of, for different reasons, kind of holding off on getting into this. And part of it is just time, because, circumstances worked out this week. I didn't put out a single solitary video, and I'm not crying about that. It's just, that's the reality. But the other part of it is I wanted to kind of sit back and think this thing through. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I've got the answer to it. Okay. I try to come to this live stream with absolutely the humility to recognize I do not have all the answers. I'm giving you my take on it for what it's worth. It might wind up I'm proven right. It might wind up I'm proven wrong. You know, I'm going to give you my take. I want to hear your take on it, and just see what you guys think. And WWG1 brings up a good point over on Rumble. He says these days, if you take too long to think through it, it'll be over and on to the next story. True, but this one's got legs, brother. I don't think this one's going anywhere for a little while. And I say that because this just isn't a normal spat between two men who are friends. Or let's just say they have a friendly association. Okay, in my heart of heart, I think Trump likes Elon. I think Elon likes Trump. I don't think Trump likes what Elon did to him, quite obviously. But I think in my heart of heart, these men would call each other friend. Okay. And there's a lot of different elements that kind of go into this thing. But like I said, the memes have been glorious. They've been provided to us by WWG1 and by Adam, and I got to put them up here for the sake of, you know, setting everything up. I mean, for example, you got this one. This one's great. Adam provided this one. I mean, here are the conservatives. They're holding on to Trump. Elon's getting ready to do some ninja moves on him, apparently, or something like that, or that's the perception in the mind of some conservatives that, you know, Elon's going to Judy chop Trump, which that's what we call it here in West Virginia. You either use a Judy chop on somebody or you throw a ninja star at them, you know, that sort of thing. So you got that going on. Then you got memes talking about, you know, people who are trying to make the best out of all this, you know, discord that's coming up between Elon and Trump. I mean, you know, for example, some people are wondering if some are trying to get back into Trump's good graces. I mean, I saw WWG1 provided this one. I think this one's hilarious. You know, Hillary, it's Donald. I have a favor to ask of you. Well, maybe Hillary's trying to get back in. Who knows? Over on Rumble, T. Gagliotti says, I think Trump and Elon are like Don Corleone and Hyman Roth. They respect each other. They do business with each other, but they never trust each other. You know, that's a really good way of looking at it. And T, you might be absolutely right. You might be absolutely right about that. That is an absolutely great way of looking at it. Yeah, that's a good one. And Gypsy, I saw this, darling, and we are going to get into this. We are absolutely getting into this. You know, you are so spot on with this. Oh goodness me, yeah. But I mean, there's like a. I mean, you know, some people are trying to figure out how to, you know, make hay out of this and do well for themselves. I mean, for example, you've got foreign. Now you got, not only have you got people like Hillary Clinton trying to get back into Trump's good graces. Check this out. It might be a thing where Kim Jong-un is trying to, like, he's texted Donald saying, Kim be your rocket man now. Fuck that asshole. Yeah. I don't know who's coming up with this stuff. I don't know who's coming up with this, but this stuff's great. This stuff is absolutely awesome. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Kim will love him long time now. Oh, jeez. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, the reaction. I mean, you know, it's wild. Totally wild. But I mean, the memes are out there, and yeah, we're laughing at them and all that good stuff. You know, and then you got theories about why this thing is going on. I mean, for example, I mean, here's a good one. Let me get this thing pulled up. Here's one theory about why all of this is happening. I mean, Elon and Trump are feuding. This is both of them knowing what it takes to release what the people want. I mean, so here's a theory. They got together, they cooked up this thing. Well, and okay, TBA brings up a good point over on Rumble. He says, honestly, Brian, you cannot possibly think that this, quote, lover's spat was real. Okay, I have heard this. The meme kind of speaks to what you're talking about, my friend. I get it. So, yeah, I mean, there's people thinking that they got together, cooked this up as a way to get the Epstein stuff out there, And you know what, Robert? I don't disagree with this either. 15 years of this Epstein list being out there, and it's either sanitized or mutually, yeah, exactly. I mean, there is all kinds of conversation and memes, as the case may be, floating around. Here's another great one. T. Gagliotti says there is no Epstein list. Hold that thought. We're going to get to that a little bit later because Kash Patel is out making the rounds. I mean, here's another one talking about that theory that they got together to get the whole Epstein thing out there. Look at this. What the F? Elon gets the left to demand the release of the Epstein list? Well, there you go. I mean, this stuff is all over the place. Okay? Absolutely all over the place in terms of theory and what the heck is going on, etc. It's just absolutely crazy. Totally crazy. So what's going on here? I mean, what's the, do we know the truth? Will we know the truth? Yada, yada, yada. And here, TBA, here's one for you. Here's a good one. This is one of my favorites that I've seen out there so far. Here we go. Check this out. I mean, you could just see these two guys sitting in a room together going, Elon's like, yeah, that's a good one. Trump's like, yeah, now call me a retard. It's just nuts with these guys and all these memes, the theories, the everything else. Absolutely crazy. And okay, Robert, we'll get to this. We'll get to this too. We will get to this. This is another one. So, I'm showing you these memes to kind of set this up. Okay. Like I say, the memes kind of speak to what's everybody's theory about this. Okay. All kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, there's one last one, and I'll put this up because this, like I said, just too good. I mean, everybody remembers the day that they saw Elon in the office with the Oval Office with a black eye. Now you got this going on. Somebody put this fake thing together that supposedly Donald Trump gave Elon the black eye. I mean, and there might be more truth to that than you know, brother. More truth to that do you know? Yeah, well, I would argue the memes sort of correspond in that they are a reflection of what the people are thinking. That would be my response. So, is it right? Is it wrong? Well, you ask the question, how does it correspond to a representative democracy? Because in this democracy at this moment, this is what some people are thinking. So, I mean, that's kind of where I come down on it. We'll see. 17 George is in the house. Been a while since we've seen you, sir. You've been moving. Oh, well, okay. 17 George is in on the Rumble side. Y'all say hello to that good man right over there. Fist bump to you, sir. Boom. Glad to have you here. So anyway, that's most, if not all, the memes that I've seen about this. But let's get into some of this. And I want to go back to something that Gypsy said a moment ago with one of her comments. So let me find it here real fast. Here it is. If there was any real dirt on Trump, Epstein or otherwise, the left would have already used it. And she brings up a valid point that I think all of us are thinking about, and it's this. Honestly, because, and for those of you who don't know, one of the things that Elon Musk accused Donald Trump of on that tirade he went on Twitter was that the reason that the Epstein list hadn't been released is they're slow walking it because Trump is on the Epstein list. Okay. Well, somebody came out who ought to know and kind of put that whole theory to bed. And they did it in a very interesting and, may I say, convincing way. This is from David Schoen. He's an attorney. He posted this on Twitter. I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as his criminal lawyer 9 days before he died. He sought my advice for months before that, and I can say authoritatively, unequivocally, and definitively that he had no information that would hurt President Trump. I asked him specifically. Now, take this for what it's worth, as with all things presented. If this is actually the case, then it kind of goes to what Gypsy said a moment ago. If somebody really had something on Donald Trump that could hurt him, it would have already been out there, especially if it relates to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Oh, hold this thought, my friend. Hold this thought. We'll get into it. Hey, my morning mayhem is in the house. Good morning, sir. And by the way, belated happy birthday to you. I saw you were doing a birthday stream earlier this week. Congratulations, brother. Happy belated birthday to you. Glad to have you in the house. So it ain't Epstein. I mean, Elon went off on everything. He went off on the big, beautiful bill stinks, which, by the way, I think there are parts of it that just suck. I agree with him. Okay. The big, beautiful bill stinks. It's going to run us into bankruptcy, as if we aren't already bankrupt already. You know, Trump should be impeached. J.D. Vance should take over. You know, this thing is awful. I mean, he was just on an absolute tear. I mean, I'm not going to bother bringing up all the tweets, but Lord Almighty. And, you know, Trump responded, you know, in Truth Social. And by the end of the day, when it all went down, things kind of cooled off a little bit. But this sort of begs the question, why? Why now? What is setting Elon Musk off so badly that you've got him out there on Twitter just absolutely taking Trump over the coals? Well, I alluded to this article from Axios the other night, and I want to put this up here for you guys. It's written by a fellow named Mark Caputo, and I'm going to put this in chat on both sides. And if you want to read this at your convenience, I mean, feel free to do it. Let me drop this. Okay, I dropped it on the Rumble side, about to drop it on the YouTube side. Oh, brother, you get no argument from me. That bill spends way too much money. Way too much. I don't necessarily disagree with you at all on that one. Excuse me. I don't disagree with you at all on that one. But the reason that I'm bringing up this article from Axios, I want you guys to look at one part of this. No, two, actually. Let me get this thing pulled up real fast. Here we go. It's written by a gentleman named Mark Caputo. And there's 4 reasons why Musk attacked Trump's big, beautiful bill. And 2 of them I want to talk about for a second. The first one was the big, beautiful bill, and this is Caputo's theory of the case. The legislation cuts the electric vehicle tax credit that helps make car makers like Elon Musk's Tesla. As of late April, his company had spent at least $240,000 lobbying on behalf of the credit and other company matters. Behind the scenes, sources say Musk also advocated for the measure in the legislation, but to no avail. Now, this is where I disagree with part of Caputo's article. Now, I'll tell you why. Because one thing that Elon Musk had said repeatedly over and over and over again, okay, is that there shouldn't be any, electric vehicle mandates or anything else, yada, 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 etc. So I'm not so sure I agree with Caputo on this. Now, there's one thing that a lot of people have talked about, and I can kind of see where this one. So let me get this one pulled up. And this goes a little bit further into that article. The fourth reason that Mark Caputo brings up is this. The final straw for Musk appeared to come Saturday night. This was last Saturday night, by the way, when Trump abruptly announced that he was withdrawing the nomination of Jared Isaacman, a Musk ally, to be the NASA administrator. Now, for those of you who may not have heard about this, Trump nominated Isaacson back in, I want to say it was December of 24. It was maybe about a month after the election was over. Okay. And, a lot of people are like, well, okay, yeah, it's a Trump. It's somebody who's close to Elon Musk. It's somebody that you would understand why it is that Musk would be upset about this, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, I'm not so sure that was the case either. However, there's some people that kind of believe this. And I've got a clip here from Roger Stone, of all people. He was appearing on the Alex Jones show the other day. And they got into this. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. And again, just presenting ideas, listen at your leisure.
I wasn't going anywhere. But I'm not sure.
Yep, hang on. Hold on, folks. Trying to see if I can make this a little better. See if that helps, maybe. Uh-oh. Don't think it's going to. Well, crud. Okay, never mind. Let me try one more thing.
Sure that this is really about the bill, Alex.
Shoot. Okay, never mind. Bless my heart. Someday we got to get you. Anyway. So Stone is like, yeah, okay. Trump initially nominated him. Then information starts coming out, particularly from email from various people who are gatekeeping, saying, hey, wait a minute. This guy's like a full-on flaming Democrat. He contributes to Democrats' people, yada, yada, yada. You should not put this guy in. All right, so Trump changes his mind. All right. So if it's not about that and not about anything else, what is really going on here? In other words, why is Elon on such a tear? And I want to play a clip for you, if my computer will cooperate with me. I want to play a clip for you from Alex Jones's show. And I'm not saying Alex is necessarily altogether right, but this kind of starts making sense when you hear it. And like I say, I'm going to try and do this, and hopefully the computer cooperates, because I thought this was an interesting insight that I don't think anybody's necessarily talking about. So with that, check this out.
Elon feels betrayed, and I would say that that is a fair perspective he has. I don't think that's what it was intended to do, but that's what happened. Instead of being even.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. And frankly, my computer is kind of helping me in that cause. So Elon feels betrayed. All right, well, that sort of begs the question, why? Why is he feeling betrayed? what's going on here? Well, Alex took it one step further with another clip. And again, if the computer will cooperate, this kind of becomes explanatory. So give me 1 second here, folks. And with that, let's check this out and see what we got in 3, 2, 1.
Where if the Trump administration and the American people and MAGA didn't back Musk when he was under unprecedented deep state attack, his family, himself, his companies, that analyzing his psychology, and I've become quite the expert on it, and his actions, it's very predictable, that he could be turned against Trump. And I'll just say it, Musk has been basically hung out to dry and not just gave up a lot of stuff that his companies earned in the market because of being, targeted and them saying that it's conflicts of interest, but actually been hurt very, very bad. And so this was a real chink in the armor. And that's why I told listeners we would not have overcome the fraud they had baked in. Wouldn't have been a big enough landslide without Musk. He is the admitted game changer.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. Now, with the honest caveat, Alex Jones could be completely and absolutely full of crap on this. Okay, I'm not sitting here necessarily endorsing Alex Jones, but he brings up a very interesting point, and I don't think anybody's really talking about it, and that is psychology. I mean, look, Elon Musk has more money right now than the only person with more money than Elon Musk is probably God Almighty himself, okay? So let's start from there. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants in the world. He's got the money to do it, okay? He's got businesses all over the place. He's got SpaceX. He's got Tesla. He's got Twitter. He's got all kinds of stuff, okay? And by and large, and I say by and large, he's stayed out of politics. Now, don't get me wrong. He's had to engage in politics over the years for the sake of his businesses. He's had to, rub elbows with politicians of both parties, etc., so on. I get it. I understand that. But somewhere along the way, he made the decision that he was going all in for Trump. And not without some considerable risk. I mean, the guy's, as it's been reported, he's had death threats. He's had death threats against members of his family. He's, whatever. So he's watched his businesses suffer in the economy. I think that point that Alex is making is perfectly valid. So you got all that going on. And then he's asked to head up DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, here is where, for my part, and again, you guys chime in on this. Here is he's asked to try to find government waste. Now, here is where I think Elon, in part, screwed up. He made a promise to people that he couldn't and he didn't deliver, or at least not yet. Oh, we can find $1 trillion worth of waste in the federal budget. We can find $1 trillion. We can cut all that out, and we can save trillions of dollars. We can reduce the budget deficit and the annual national debt, blah, 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 blah. Well, $1 trillion went to $500 billion, then $100 billion, and chop down, chop down, chop down, chop down. Okay? And this is not to speak ill of any of the efforts for the people who were working in DOGE. We're talking about some very smart business people from all over the world and all over the country that got brought in on this effort. Okay? So you got the pressure of promising something that you haven't delivered yet. You got the pressure of your businesses taking some very nasty, nasty financial hits. You've got the pressure of being threatened with your own life and the life of your family members. And you put all that together. And this guy was like, in one sense, a time bomb with the starting to tick down. Now, do I think it was, this NASA head of NASA thing that finally set him off? Do I think it was no, it could have been any number of things. I'm not even sure we're ever going to quite know what it was that set Elon Musk off. And by the way, I am not sitting here trying to cover for Elon Musk. I'm not saying what he did was right. No, I'm saying what he did was wrong. I'm just saying this is what we got in front of us. Let's talk about it. Okay. But if Alex Jones, and again, take it for what it's worth, it's Alex, okay? But if Alex is right, and Musk, trying to do these things, felt like he's getting hung out to dry, getting no support, real support from Trump, got no support from Trump or whatever. Again, I'm not saying what Elon did was right, but you kind of understand the logic of it. No, I don't think, I'm not sitting here shilling for Elon. I mean, don't get me wrong, brother. I'm not shilling for Elon. I'm not necessarily I'm not shilling for anybody. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out the heck is going on here, man. I just think the perspective that, Alex Jones is bringing up, okay, I don't think anybody's talking about it, and it kind of makes sense. Now, again, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, according to some estimates. And this whole thing could be whatever. I totally agree. I totally agree with you on this. The guy he's going to some places. No, I don't want to see him go, and I don't want to see it happen. I don't think Elon Musk has his own set of agendas. I totally agree with that. Okay. Elon Musk has absolutely his own set of agendas. Okay. He has his own set of agendas that he's trying to accomplish. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I come to this from the perspective, I don't know what started all this. I do agree, however, with some of what's already been said. And let me try and catch up with the chat on this. This is not going to help for the purposes of the midterms. And Robert, I think you're right. I'm starting to wonder if the Republicans even want to win the midterms. Because there is a valid point in all of this. And let me pull this up real fast because it's worth talking about. Okay. In 2023, 2024, who spent more money or made more political contributions? By almost double everybody else, Elon Musk. Okay. And again, the line from Elon about, well, Trump wouldn't have won Pennsylvania without me. I'm sorry, brother. I don't agree with that. Trump won Pennsylvania on July 15th, 2024, the day he survived Butler, Pennsylvania. That's when he won Pennsylvania, brother. Your money might have helped. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Your money, Elon, might have helped, but Donald Trump won Pennsylvania on July 15th when he survived the assassination attempt. That's when he had Pennsylvania right in the bag. Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally, Lana. I totally agree with you. So, who was it said earlier? He spouted off like a child. I think it was Robert. Yeah, here it is. Autistic man-child, his outbursts are the norm and expected. Yeah. Yeah. Am I going to say I saw this coming? No, not necessarily. Am I surprised by it? Nope. Yeah. Salty old fart over on Rumble is here this morning. Says, good morning, friends. Also remember, he said 2 trillion in 2 years, not immediately. Yeah, okay. Fair point. Fair point. Glad to have you in the house, Salty. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know where this goes from here. I mean, I do think, and there's a point that's made by the commentator Sasha Stone, and I'll put this up here for you guys' consideration. And she says the following: losing Elon is a big hit for MAGA. He is not replaceable in his efforts to help win the elections. Even if MAGA friendlies are right about him, Steve Bannon, Bhatia, and others, it's still a big hit money-wise. Big hit, so yeah, more grassroots efforts will be required. I don't know that MAGA has lost Elon. I disagree with her slightly. Okay. You know. And this is true too. This is totally true. You know. He wasn't fired. He, according to reports, or at least according to Mark Caputo at Axios, he wanted to go beyond the 130 days, and the Trump people were like, I don't think so. And part of that, again, I will argue, is Elon's own fault. There were reports of 2 different cabinet meetings when cabinet officers are saying, hey, you're saying you're finding all these, all this money that we're wasting in all these departments. Would you mind showing us the results? Elon produced nothing. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, who was trying to work with Elon all along, according to reports, they got into a shouting match where Bessent is looking at Elon going, okay, either show me $2 trillion worth of cuts or $1 trillion worth of cuts or shut up about it. I mean, and you guys have seen Scott Bessent. This guy normally does not get, at least in public anyway, this guy normally does not get hot under the collar. He's a pretty cool customer. But Elon was doing himself no favors with the way he was handling certain aspects of Doge. Now, in the end, I think Doge might wind up finding or helping us save money by saying, okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But it hasn't happened yet. It's not an immediately tangible thing that people can put their hands on. And I think that's part of what Elon's problem is here. I mean, you've heard the old adage, what happens when the irresistible force meets the immovable object? Let's break that down to current where we are right now. What happens when the world's richest man, Elon Musk, takes on the world's most powerful man in Donald Trump? I'll argue Elon's money does him no good here. Trump's got the power. And I will give Trump this. He has been, after that initial burst on Truth Social, he's been remarkably restrained in terms of how he's responding to Elon. I mean, I haven't got the clip pulled up, but he's flying on Air Force One, I guess maybe back down to Mar-a-Lago. And, he holds one of those press junkets in the back of the plane. And he's being very restrained on his answers about Elon. If this were Trump from 6-7 years ago, he'd have torched the guy by now. And he may yet, for all I know, he may yet do it. I don't know. You never know with Trump. At 2 a.m, his fingers get twitchy. But at this point, Trump's being remarkably restrained. Because if this had been anybody else, he'd have burned him down by now. And it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. I don't know where all this goes. I have no idea where all this goes. I do agree with one thing that I have seen and heard so far. I think this gives an opening to the Democrats as far as, discord inside the MAGA movement. I absolutely agree with that. Matter of fact, you want to know how much discord it's giving? Oh, I found this clip. I want you guys to see this. Van Jones. Watch this.
Elon. Well, Elon's correct. He's good at math. But the other piece of it is those Doge employees.
Hang on. It's not going to let me do it. Doggone it. Yeah, I mean, the Democrats are going to try and make hay out of all this. They're absolutely going to try and make hay out of it. Now, by the way, there is one silver lining in all this. Okay. And it's something you guys know, and you guys have the good sense to know it, but it does bear repeating here. Okay. Everybody always makes, or I should say, opponents make the statement, oh, the MAGA movement, they're a bunch of mind-numbed drones, man. They're a bunch of, or to borrow Rush Limbaugh's old expression, they're a bunch of mind-numbed robots. They just listen to whatever Trump says and go, just like a bunch of lapdogs. No, that's not the case. You've had good people on both sides of this. Hey, I think Elon's right. No, I think Elon's wrong. Hey, Elon's right about this big, beautiful bill. It spends too much money, which, by the way, it does. And I'm going to say something I thought I'd never say, and I've told friends of mine this. Normally, these days, I rely on the House Republicans to clean up some screw up that the Senate Republicans do. In this case, I cannot believe I'm saying this. I'm actually holding out hope that the Senate Republicans put more spending cuts into this bill than what the House Republicans did. Because I'm sorry, Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Ron Johnson, talk about whoever you want in the Senate. They're absolutely right. This thing spends too much money. It absolutely does. So yeah, I'm sort of hoping the Senate Republicans actually put some real teeth into the spending cuts. Now on that, I can see that. I can see that. I'll give you that. But on this one, I don't think this is the case. I think you've got people on all sides of MAGA who are coming down one way or the other. We'll see. But I can see what you're saying here. I can see that's absolutely true. In some cases. Morning Mayhem says, the House Republicans didn't even read the damn bill. Marjorie Taylor Greene flat out said so. She posted that she didn't know certain things were in there. Yeah, and that's a problem too. And you know what? I give Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot of credit on this. She came out after the fact and said, look, I got to apologize to you guys. I didn't know some of this was in here. I didn't read it. I give her credit for her honesty. There are some serious parts of this thing that I do not like. The spending is one. The Palantir provisions are the other. There's a bunch of it I don't like. And I'm hoping it gets cleaned up as much as possible. So we'll see where all this goes. We'll see. But yeah, right now, it is just... And you know what? In their own way, I hope that Musk and Trump come to some kind of accommodation. Look, and this is something else that I think is worth talking about. I don't know if Elon went into this thinking that, if he went into this thinking, hey, I got a friend in Donald Trump, and maybe he does. Maybe they are friends, and I don't, who knows? But I think, especially for someone like Elon Musk, dude, you got to realize something here. You're going into an association of equal parties. What am I getting at? Okay, you're going, better way of saying it. You're going into an alliance, not necessarily a friendship. Okay? You could have alliances without necessarily being friends. Case in point, Joseph Stalin, the leader of the USSR, and the United States and Great Britain. Ain't nobody thinking any of these three were friendly with each other, especially Churchill especially Churchill on behalf of Great Britain to Joseph Stalin on behalf of the Soviets. But for the sake of defeating Hitler, they formed an alliance. If Elon was thinking he was getting friendship out of all this, that was a mistake. As the old expression goes, in Washington, D.C., if you want a friend, buy a dog. You know, so we'll see. We will absolutely see. I don't know, man. I don't know. It is absolutely crazy. All right, let me see if I can catch up with some of these comments on the Rumble side. Salty Old Fart says, just chilling. I'm not convinced the bromance between Trump and Musk is over. I'm not either. I don't think this thing's dead yet. I think these are two people that express their opinions about some things, and they're going to air this thing out. They're going to, at some point, Salty, I think these two are going to sit down and talk. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I think it's going to happen. Let's see, what else do we have here? "17 George says, I'm also thinking the attacks on the big bill is on purpose to fight the blot that they had to put in to get it to pass. Okay, could be. Could be. Could very well be. We'll see. We'll wind up seeing. T. Gagliotti brings up one of the best Ron Paul quotes ever. Why did I vote against this spending bill? Because I read it. Good point. Third Railify is in the house. Good morning, Sean. How you doing, brother? Glad to see you, sir. Glad to see you, sir. Oh, I'll be sending you a message on Twitter sometime in the next couple 3 days. So just be on the lookout for it. I'd like to set up an appointment with you, sir. We'll just leave it at that. Now, one of the things that Elon talked about was forming a new political party. Robert's got an idea for the name. Party of Autistic People. That's good. That's good, man. This is funny. This is funny. Yeah, both of these guys need a timeout. Oh, so true. So true. All right. T-Gaggy says, end the fedora, Ron Paul. Ron Paul never said end the fedora, sir. How dare you? How untoward. How untoward indeed. End the fedora. How dare you? How dare you? My goodness. Adam. Oh, God, Adam. No. Just, no. Anyway, tell you what, it's 11:30. Again, I just want to put some of this out here for discussion. I mean, like I say, I'm coming to this and trying to do it as humbly as I can. Have I got the answers on this one? No. I think it's worth talking about and trying to figure out some of it. Are we going to be able to figure out any of it right now? No idea. But we'll see where it takes us. Anyway, before we go on to our next topic, let me do a real quick commercial for myself. If you happen to be watching this, be it on Rumble, and by the way, big crowd over on Rumble this morning. Glad to see all of you guys out there. And thank you for chiming in from Third Railify, 17 George, Salty Old Fart, My Morning Mayhem, TBA, WWG1, T. Gagliotti, all you cats over there. Glad to have a great crowd this morning over on the Rumble side. And you guys are absolutely fantastic. 17 George is here. And also all you cats on the YouTube side, Adam and Robert and Lana and Kawan and Gypsy and everybody who's here in the house this morning. We're glad to have you. And Z Highness and, oh Lord, all kinds of people I'm probably forgetting to mention. But glad to have you all here this morning. If you are stopping into this live stream for the very first time, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and this is Front Porch Brunch. It's a live stream that I do on the weekends where we all get together and we talk about, just like this morning, we're talking about the whole Elon Trump thing. We talk about the news, and we give our views. We try to make sense out of it all as much as we can. So if this is your cup of tea, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel right now, and also hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when live streams and new videos come out. Believe it or not, I still do videos, just haven't had a chance to put as many of them into circulation as I like. Hit the bell for notifications, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, exactly, Chris. 22 people watching and only 6 likes. Give me some thumbs up over there, y'all, over on Rumble. What the heck? Also, hit the like button, leave a comment in chat, share the link around with your friends. Would greatly appreciate it. And with that, we'll move on to another compartment on the train. Just give me 1 second here. A little refresher. Now, contrary to what people think, there were other things going on in the world this week, and the Supreme Court handed down a whole bunch of decisions, a ton of them actually, that wide-ranging. They didn't get all the attention they deserve, and I thought we might want to talk about them this morning. And we'll start with the first one, and believe it or not, it does relate to what we've been talking about already. From NBC News, Supreme Court allows Doge access to Social Security data. The dispute concerns efforts by the Department of Government Efficiency, largely led by Elon Musk, to access sensitive data, including Social Security numbers. Article written by Lawrence Hurley and Gary Grumbach. We've got the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court on Friday allowed members of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency to access the Social Security Administration's databank. The conservative majority court, with its 3 liberal members objecting, granted an emergency application filed by the Trump administration asking justices to lift an injunction issued by a federal judge in Maryland. The unsigned order said that members of the Doge team assigned to the Social Security Administration should have access to the agency's records in question in order for those members to do their work. The lawsuit challenging Doge's actions were filed by progressive group Democracy Forward on behalf of 2 unions, the American Federation of State County, so AFSCME, okay, and the American Federation of Teachers, as well as the Alliance for Retired Americans. Quote, "This is a sad day for our democracy and a scary day for millions of people," the group said in a statement. The ruling will enable President Trump and Doge affiliates to steal Americans' private and personal data. The White House praised the ruling. The Supreme Court allowing the Trump administration to carry out common sense efforts to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse and modernize government information systems is a huge victory for the rule of law, says spokesperson Liz Houston in a statement. Liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote a dissenting opinion, quote, "In essence, the urgency underlying the government stay application is the mere fact that it cannot be bothered to wait for the litigation process to play out before proceeding as it wishes," she added. Okay. Wait a minute. Chris from My Morning Mayhem, I'm curious to know what's in that mug. Tea. This is tea, my friend, and nothing more. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to toot my own horn personally here. 33 days, no soda, no Diet Coke, no Diet Pepsi, no Coca-Cola, nothing. I'm drinking water and tea. That's it. It can be done. I urge you to try it. I mean, talk to your doctor first, of course. I'm not trying to give you medical advice here, but for me, it's now been 33 days, no soda whatsoever. So, to me, and believe me, I've been drinking soda pop since I was a kid. The fact I've gone 33 days, and I'm not drinking any soda for 33 days. That's doing something. So anyway, you got that Supreme Court decision out there. But you've got some other ones that are pretty big too. Here's one that I thought was really interesting. Did you guys hear about the decision that came out of Wisconsin earlier this week? This one's pretty good. Check this out from Fox News. Supreme Court rules Wisconsin unconstitutionally discriminated against a Christian charity. Unanimous ruling shields Catholic charity from states' attempts to define religious behavior. Article written by Shannon Bream, Bill Mears, and Brianne Depeche. We've got the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court on Thursday sided with a Wisconsin-based Catholic charities group in a case centered on unemployment tax credits for religious institutions, delivering a victory for faith-based institutions who argued that the state's decision had violated religious clauses of the First Amendment. In a unanimous opinion, the justices agreed that the state had engaged in, quote, an unnecessary entanglement in attempting to define whether religious groups should be entitled to an otherwise available tax exemption based on the state's criteria for religious behavior. Quote, when the government distinguishes among religions based on theological differences in their provision of services, it imposes a denominational preference that must satisfy the highest levels of judicial scrutiny, said Justice Sonia Sotomayor, writing for the unanimous majority. Because Wisconsin had transgressed that principle without tailoring necessary to survive such scrutiny, the judgment of the Wisconsin Supreme Court is reversed, and the case is remanded for further proceedings not inconsistent with this opinion. The decision could clear the way for more states to broaden their tax-exempt status for religious organizations with ripple effects that could reach far beyond Wisconsin. Catholic Charities Bureau had asked the Supreme Court to review a lower court ruling that had required them to pay Wisconsin's unemployment tax after the state determined the group's activities were, quote, primarily charitable and secular and therefore not subject to exemption. Lawyers for the Catholic Charities Bureau arguing the ruling was an unconstitutional violation of religious freedoms and amounted to viewpoint-based discrimination, which argued that gospel values and moral teachings of the church. Okay. And I do agree with the authors of this article, though. I think this could get far beyond Wisconsin. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I think this one could be big. This one could be big. And it wasn't the only one, by the way. There were a few others. Give me a second here and I'll get this next one pulled up. By the way, now this one's huge. Did you guys hear about the case coming out of Ohio? This one's pretty good. And it makes an argument. That a lot of us have been making for a very, very long time. Oh, Lord, my picture is so blurry. Come on, computer. Get me back up there. Oy vey. I just got to look at myself. Morning Mayhem says, this one's huge. That's what she said. Oh, goodness me. Y'all are absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. This next one I think is this one's a pretty interesting ruling. 17 George says, I've grown up always believing in the separation of powers, including church and state, but that doesn't mean they can't work together for their missions. Good perspective. Very good perspective. Yeah. Believe me, this computer of mine. Oy vey. Anyway, this is an interesting article. This is from the Associated Press. Supreme Court makes it easier to claim reverse discrimination in employment in a case out of Ohio. Robert, you've probably heard about this one already. Article by Mark Sherman. A unanimous Supreme Court made it easier Thursday to bring lawsuits over so-called reverse discrimination, siding with an Ohio woman who claims she didn't get a job and then was demoted because she was straight. This is going to get spicy. The justice's decision affects lawsuits in 20 states and the District of Columbia, where until now, courts had set a higher bar when members of a majority group, including those who are white and heterosexual, sue for discrimination under the law. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote for the court that federal civil rights laws draw no distinction between members of majority and minority groups. Quote, by establishing the same protections for every individual without regard to that individual's membership in a minority or majority group, Congress left no room for courts to impose special requirements on majority group plaintiffs alone, Jackson wrote. The court ruled in an appeal from Marlene Ames, who has worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services for more than 20 years. Though he joined in Jackson's opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas noted in a separate opinion that some of the country's largest and most prestigious employers have overtly discriminated against those they deem members of so-called majority groups. Thomas, joined by Neil Gorsuch, cited a brief filed by America First Legal, a conservative group founded by Trump aide Stephen Miller, to assert that American employers have been obsessed with diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and affirmative action plans. 2 years ago, court's majority outlawed consideration of race in university admissions. Since taking office in January, Trump has ordered the end of DEI policies in the federal government. Now, by the way, and I think this is a huge case. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that more or less covers it. I'm surprised a case like this hasn't come up long before now. I really am. Yeah, and this is a good point. Reverse discrimination is discrimination, period. Flat out, end of argument. No doubt at all. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised it's taken this long for a case like this to get decided. So, but I'm glad to see the court ruled the way it did. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in a majority or a minority group. Discrimination is discrimination. Whether it's discrimination of a minority or discrimination of the majority, it's still discrimination. So good for the Supreme Court, Now I say that now, and probably next week they're going to hand down a rule that's going to make me crazy, but there you go. Now here's one it'll probably be of interest to gun owners. Check this out. This one's from NPR. Unanimous Supreme Court rules against Mexico in guns case. This is from their desk. A unanimous Supreme Court dismissed the government of Mexico's claims that U.S. gun manufacturers aided and abetted the pipeline of weapons from the U.S. to Mexican drug cartels. Quote, Mexico's complaint does not plausibly allege that the defendant's gun manufacturers aided and abetted the gun dealers' unlawful sale of firearms to Mexican traffickers. Justice Elena Kagan, one of the court's 3 liberals, wrote for the court. At issue was Mexico's claims that Smith & Wesson and other gun makers were turning a blind eye to hundreds of thousands of high-powered weapons made in the United States that are illegally trafficked into the hands of the Mexican cartels. Mexico argued that it is a country where guns are supposed to be difficult to get. There is just one store in the whole country where guns can be bought legally, yet the nation is awash with illegal guns sold most often to the cartels. Mexico maintains the gushing pipeline on what it calls gun crimes comes from the United States, where manufacturers know which dealers are the bad actors. Quote, you can't hide behind the middlemen and pretend like you don't know what's happening, Jonathan Lowy, co-counsel for Mexico and the president of Global Action on Gun Violence, told NPR earlier this year. Now, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Hold on. We'll get to the gun case in just a second, but I'm sorry. For the government of Mexico to make the argument that there is an illegal supply of anything coming from the United States down to Mexico has got to be one of the most hysterically hypocritical things I've ever heard of. Excuse me, Mexico, have you not heard of a pipeline going from Mexico to the United States called drugs? I mean, really? You're sitting here, griping and moaning to us about, illegal gun sales going from our country down to yours, illegal guns flowing into your country, and you're doing little to nothing to help us stop the flow of drugs coming from Mexico into the United States. Do you not begin to see, pot calling the kettle black, the hypocrisy and all that. Seriously? Oh my God. Really? Jeez. Yeah. Cartel me true. Yeah. But again, this case kind of goes to, well, and actually I'm kind of glad that I am glad the Supreme Court ruled on this. But this has been trying to make its way through the United States for some time now. The reason we've got gun violence in America is because those daggone gun manufacturers, forgetting the fact that, the gun manufacturers aren't making someone pull the trigger, an actual person's pulling the trigger. Oh, very true. Very true. Very true indeed. Who was it that mentioned Fast and Furious over on Rumble? TBA says, whatever happened to Fast and Furious? I think Mexico is the pot calling the kettle black. Exactly. But yeah, the manufacturers don't make someone go out and commit murder. The manufacturers don't go out and make someone pull the trigger on a gun. A person does that. In one sense, I'm really kind of surprised the Mexican government is even making this argument in a courtroom in America. Like I said, lay aside the blatant hypocrisy of it all. Okay? This argument's been tried now for maybe 10, 15 years in America. The reason we got our gun violence, daggone it, is these daggone manufacturers. If they didn't manufacture guns, we wouldn't have gun violence in America. We wouldn't have murders. We wouldn't have armed robbery. We wouldn't have anything. Really? Go talk to the British. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they had 6 people murdered up in Liverpool recently. Why? Because a guy took an SUV into a parade. You know what the biggest murder weapon in Great Britain is? Knives, machetes. It's not guns. You know why? Because Great Britain has probably the strictest gun control laws in America, in the world. You can't get a gun if you're a citizen of Great Britain. You cannot get a gun. And guess what? They've still got murder, and a lot of it. Why? Because the murder weapon of choice in Great Britain are knives or machetes. Yeah. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Just like auto manufacturers don't make SUVs run into crowds. It is shitey propaganda. Yeah, exactly, Gypsy. Spot on, my dear. Spot on. Oh, I hadn't thought about this, but Robert, that's a good point. That's a real good point, brother. That's a really good point indeed. Huh. Very true. Very, very true. Let's see. What else have we got? No, I saw those court cases. We got to talk about this. Oh, yeah. That's a good way to describe what happened up at Liverpool. That's a real good way to describe it. Daryl Brooks 2.0. Good on you, Lana. Good on you, darling. All right. We have hit that portion of the live stream that I love to refer to as HodgePodge Stew. Now, for those of you who maybe are visiting us for the first time, be it on Rumble or on YouTube or wherever you might be out there, or on Twitter, for that matter. And by the way, you Twitter folks out there, if you're watching this morning, feel free to chime in. I'd love to see some comments from the Twitter side. Doggone it. Not hedgehog stew, TBA, HodgePodge stew. Oy vey. Anyway. HodgePodge stew are those collection of stories that maybe don't quite get the same amount of attention as all the big stuff during the week, but you ought to talk about them. You ought to talk about them. So anyway, with that in mind, we gotta start with this one. I'm sorry. We've just got to start with this. Have you guys heard about FBI Director Kash Patel going on Joe Rogan recently. I think the interview may already be out, but this is the first time I have ever heard of an FBI director going on a live stream like Joe Rogan. Which, by the way, on a side note, speaks to the power of independent media. Apparently, and again, this is just, it's being rumored, reported, whatever, Kash Patel is going to go on some kind of a media tour. This thing with Joe Rogan is going to be the first of many different interviews that he gives. Okay. And why he's doing this, I think I know why, if I had to guess. Patel, like Dan Bongino and like Pam Bondi, are getting a whole lot of heat for a lot of different stuff. The Epstein files being one of the biggest, but also, hey, where are the prosecutions of, people like, John Brennan, James Clapper, Jim Comey? You were saying out there for years that's a cut and dry case that these people ought to be in prison. Well, how come they're not being investigated, and how come they're not being charged? Okay. And they're getting a lot of heat for it. So why do I have the feeling old Kash is out there trying to do a PR and run around his current problems right now? Well, we've got some clips from Kash Patel's appearance on Joe Rogan's show. And the first one, well, he might be. Who knows? He might. You never know with this stuff. Who knows? But isn't it funny that an 18, 19-year-old kid is advising people in power about where they ought to go on social media? Isn't that funny as all get out? Anyway, we've got some clips. One of them was provided by T. Gagliotti over on the Rumble side. And this first one is, and hopefully my computer allows us to play it, so my apologies in advance if there's any problems that we can't. This first one is in live time, the reaction of both Joe Rogan and Kash Patel to the Elon Donald Trump back and forth on social media. Check this out. Oh, wait a minute. This is from Jimmy Dore. Oh, crud. Hang on a minute. I did not realize this. Hang on. Hang on, folks. Sorry about this. Okay, here we go.
Have a nice day, DJD.
Dude, are you joking? I didn't know Joe didn't tell me Kash Patel was coming. I've been very hard on him on this program, and Bongino, because they're coaching, when they're lying visibly on TV, they get the same kind of coaching Hunter Biden got to not leak. It's called leakage. When people try to, politicians, they read their body language and you see all those articles. They get real aggressive while they lie. And they're like, oh, there's nothing and whatever. It still looks like a lie, but it's like you can tell they've been coached. And they have been. And why would they? What are they protecting?
Well, let's watch more of Kash Patel and Joe Rogan's reaction to Elon Musk's allegation. And I really stress it's an allegation because, again, I don't trust Elon Musk here as an impartial source.
Take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
yeah. Listen, well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
Yeah, he told him to leave. Jesus
Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know?
Yeah.
Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. Kash, I'm not in the business of giving you advice, but dude, you're probably smart to stay out of that one. You really are. And T Gaggiotti over on Rumble, thank you for providing. I mean, yeah, thank you for providing that. But yeah, that's just the part of it. Now, I've got another clip here, and I will admit, I have not watched this whole interview that Kash Patel gives to Joe Rogan. But I know of a certainty, Joe Rogan was asking Kash Patel about Epstein. And I've got a clip here. We'll stop this as we need to. But y'all, if you haven't seen this thing yet, you're probably going to go watch Joe Rogan's whole interviews. Check this out.
Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
If you're being told not to do it, yeah, I think you would not go so far as to prosecute or release evidence. Yeah, TBA, I'm with you on that one, brother. I'm sorry. You may be the head of the FBI, but you're not going to convince me that if someone called you up higher than your station, that you're not going to do what you're told. But let us continue with see what Director Patel has to say.
But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you?
Again, yeah, I really think you wouldn't give that to me. Sorry, Kash, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe this predates you and I shouldn't feel this way about it, but the federal government is hiding the activities of Jeffrey Epstein for reasons they're not telling anybody. Now, we've all got some suspicions about what that is, but please don't sit there and say, do you really think if we had this, we wouldn't give it to you? Of course you wouldn't. The federal government's been hiding this for 15 years. What makes you any different? Let us continue.
If it existed, I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell and you're going to see for yourself.
Uh-oh. Hang on, folks. Computer was running real good and then all of a sudden decided to do this to me. Because this is an absolutely great clip. Doggone it. Hang on. Darn it.
What did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So I was a public defender back in the day. I used to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, SHUs as we call them, right? And so, and I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells. And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so the way, based on public information at the time, that he ended up, the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like, man, that guy killed himself. There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it and not have any people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy. He shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy. There's just no access points into places like this in the detention center he was in, which I've been in.
But that's the problem, Kash. Supposedly up to now, there is no video of this. The guards were either not there or asleep. No one can corroborate what did or did not happen. Now, buddy, if you got videotape, let's see it. Put this to bed once and for all, okay? Put it to bed once and for all, and let's find out. Anyway, let's continue.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
right?
And in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right? Like
right.
where they like You know, and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
So why wasn't that released like immediately? Why did this speculation escalate?
I think you'd have to ask whoever the attorney general back then was, Bill Barr.
Ultra methyl.
Really? Really? This is your defense? This is your defense? Oh my word. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me with this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable indeed. TBA says, I thought it was the FBI that told us the cameras were down. Bingo! Yep. Yep. That is absolutely true. These guys are just incredible. Dude, Cash, if you're doing this to try to help yourself out, just unbelievable. Unbelievable with this guy. I want to go back, though. I want to play one more clip from that interview. Again, if the computer will allow me to do it. I want to play one more clip because this one, I don't know if Kash Patel realizes it, but he may have set himself up for a whole lot of problems because this is one of those moments where somebody needs to get their story straight. Okay? Let me play you a clip. And this runs about, I don't know, about a minute and a half. And it's a compilation of two different things. Okay? With that, check this out. In 3, 2, 1, here we go.
The narrative has always been that there's video. But what about the video from the island?
Again, we're going to give you everything we can. And people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there.
All right, fair enough. I can understand that.
It's not happening because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
And is there video from the island?
Not of what you want.
So this narrative might not be accurate, that there's video of these guys doing this.
Exactly.
Have you guys reviewed everything that you have?
Almost. Yes, we have, and now we're figuring out how to put it out.
Now, remember what he just said. There's no video like what you guys are wanting. Remember what he said here, okay? There's no video like what you guys are wanting. Let's go back to the tape because somebody here needs to get their story straight.
But is there footage?
If there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
So it's tons of thousands of videos. Yeah, and it's all with little kids.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Now, understand this. He's saying, if there were video, don't you think you'd see it? If there were video, don't you think we'd be prosecuting the case? So Joe Rogan asked him, is there video from the island? What does he say? Not like what you want to see. Then you got Pam Bondi over here talking to somebody from the O'Keefe Media Group, going, "Oh yeah, we've got thousands of videos of stuff being done with little kids, and it's just disgusting." And okay, which is it? Will one of you two please get your story? Will both of you get your story straight? Either you are with Pam Bondi on this, and you guys have got your hands on. You got your hands on video of men, maybe even women, doing horrifically unspeakable acts to children, and you've got it on videotape, or you're over here with Kash Patel, and there's no video like that exists. Which is it? And the part that gets me about this is the way that, people in the federal government just assume that there's those of us like you and me out there that don't know anything about this story. Okay. TBA says we don't have the video, but we're trying to figure out how to give you the videos. Great point. 17 George says that's probably the truest statement anyone has said about this whole mess. It won't be what we want or expect. Salty old fart, Men in Black can't be just a coinky-dink. Yeah. T-Gag-Yaddy, we were promised perp walks. Yeah. Cash, which is it? Either your boss, Pam Bondi, is right, and you guys have got video that's horrible to imagine, or you don't have it. Could you two please talk to each other and get your story straight? Now, granted, that last clip we got was put together by the O'Keefe Media Group. So understand they've got a certain amount of skin in the game, or bias, depending on how you want to look at it. But they're not wrong. Their point is perfectly valid. Which is it? Either you've got the tape or you don't. Fess up, guys. Kash Patel may have just cooked himself with this. From a legal standpoint, the answer he gave may get him by in a court of law. In the court of public opinion, he cooked himself. He absolutely cooked himself. Oh my God. Yeah. And I used to really love Cash. When he got in as director of FBI, I was like, okay, this is about to get interesting. Let's see what happens. Nope, not yet. Ain't seeing it. And again, like the guy, I ain't seeing it yet. Now, maybe I get proven wrong down the line, but dude, you are seriously breaking my heart out here. Oh my gosh. Anyway. All right, what else do we have in the way of HodgePodge stew? A little bit of a history lesson about Epstein, in case you guys have forgotten. You ever wondered why certain things get slow walked when it comes to Epstein? Roger Stone had here's a friendly reminder about why certain things happen with Epstein the way they do. Check this out.
Well, look, I think it is important to note that after Epstein got a slap on the wrist by state prosecutors, the sheriff in Palm Beach County was outraged. County prosecutor had given him a charge of one count of solicitation when he could have been charged with child sex trafficking and 33 children and statutory rape. He went to the U.S. attorney, Alex Acosta, in Miami. Acosta conducted his own investigation, but then he rubber stamped the slap on the wrist and he sealed the case. Later, Alex, when Acosta was appointed Secretary of Labor in preparation for his confirmation hearings, in front of a lawyer that I know who was helping him, he was asked, "What are you going to say if some senator asks you why you gave Epstein a pass?" And Acosta said, "I'm going to tell the truth, that he worked for the CIA and that the agency told me to rubber stamp this and make sure it did not see the light of day." There it is.
Need I say more? There you go. Take it for what it's worth. Now, again, Roger Stone could be completely wrong, or he could be lying, or whatever. But if anybody out there has ever had the suspicion as to why it is that no one, particularly Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or anybody else, why nothing's been done to him of any serious nature, well, there you go. There you go. Take it for what it's worth. Could be. Which, by the way, and I did not have this lined up in HodgePodge Stew, but Gypsy, thank you for reminding me of this. Did you guys see this week where Alan Dershowitz is calling for the Trump administration to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Did you guys see this? Hang on a minute. I gotta find this. Give me 1 second here. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Give me a second. One moment. Give me 1 second here, guys. Come on, where is it? Calls for pardon. There we go. This will probably help. Yeah, here it is. Here's what I'm looking for. Yeah. I thought I had it. Never mind. No, Alan Dershowitz is calling for the Trump administration to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, I have a problem with this. I got a serious problem with it. Okay. How can you pardon someone who's never done anything wrong? Now, follow me on this. Okay. Here's my problem with that strategy. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? Contrary to what you might think, it's not for what we think she ought to be in jail for. She's in jail for lesser charges. How can you pardon someone for crimes they didn't do? She was never put in jail for matter of fact, hang on. I got to remember this. Well, I'm not going to go that far. I got to pull this up real fast. Let's see, this is the one. Yeah. Here's the one that got her put in jail. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. One moment. Let's see. That's the civil suit. Criminal charges. Here we go. Prosecutors led by United States District Attorney Audrey Strauss charged Maxwell with 6 federal crimes, including enticement of minors, sex trafficking of children, and perjury. The indictments were charged between 94 and 97, assisted, facilitated, and contributed to the abuse of minor girls, despite knowing that one of the 3 unnamed victims was 14 years old. Okay. Just one question that I've got. Who did Ghislaine Maxwell traffic these girls to? Because the names never came out. So my point is this. How can you pardon her for these crimes when really there was no crime ever proven? You can't traffic someone if there's no one to traffic them to. No names ever came out. So you begin to see my problem with this? And my question is, why is Alan Dershowitz pushing for this? I mean, what the heck is going on here? Well, Gypsy, you may be right. You may be right. Well, good point. Yeah. Who was on the other end of this? Remember, if you're, and again, there are people better versed in this than I am. Oh, hello, dear. Good morning. We are glad to hear from you, and still offering our thoughts and prayers for you, darling. But glad you're here with us this morning. Good to hear from you. Yeah, how can you pardon Ghislaine Maxwell for the crimes of, enticement of minors, sex trafficking of children, and perjury when we never found out who they were trafficked to? How can you have trafficking if there's no one on the other end to receive the traffic? You see my point? I'd like to know why Dershowitz is pushing this right now. And frankly, if Trump does this, it's one of the dumbest moves he'll ever make. Yeah, Dershowitz was one of Epstein's lawyers. Absolutely. This is good to hear, darling. This is good to hear. We've been wondering about you. And we're going to keep you in our thoughts and prayers. You keep on getting better, darling. You keep on getting better. I mean, this whole thing is crazy. No, she should not be pardoned. Under no circumstances should she be pardoned. Crazy. Oh, all right. What else have we got in the way of HodgePodge stew? Oh. Hey, have you guys heard the news? America's favorite resident of Maryland is coming back to the United States. That's right, folks. Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been returned to the United States to face federal criminal charges. The Maryland man who was deported to El Salvador will face human smuggling charges in Tennessee. No, wait a minute. I'm not laughing at what he's charged with, okay? Not at all. What I am laughing about is the irony for the Democrats. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about. Kilmar Garcia was deported for being a member of MS-13. What came out after the fact was that the Tennessee State Police had stopped him about 3 years ago now and could have charged him with trafficking and didn't do it. They reported it to Department of Homeland Security and to ICE and never did anything with it. Okay. And now he's being brought back, which, by the way, Chris Van Hollen, the senator from Maryland, was screaming, "You've got to bring him back. This is wrong, yada, yada, yada." Well, they brought him back all right. And now they're going to charge him with human trafficking in Tennessee. Congratulations, you got what you wanted. There you go. All right, folks. It's 12:30, and we're going to bring this train into the station. Want to thank you guys so much for being here as a part of Front Porch Brunch this morning. As always, continue to hit the like button, leave a comment in chat, share the link around with your friends. Always hit the bell for notifications. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do so. So, folks, thank you again very much. Glad you guys have a great Saturday and a great rest of your weekend. Love you guys very much. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys very much. Have a great weekend.